Good afternoon, families, friends, partners, and everyone enveloped in this collective community today. My name is Ronald Rael, and I am the chair of the Department of Art Practice, and I have the honor of welcoming you to our 2025 graduation ceremony. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that it is important to understand the long-standing history that has brought us to reside on the land where we are gathering today, and I ask you to seek to understand your place within that history. And as we move forward with today's event, I'd like to make a request for consideration for those in attendance with hearing aids, and request to please not use air horns in the hall. I encourage you to clap loudly, quickly, to hoot and holler and cheer, but loud noisemakers can be painful to some in our community. Shall we practice to see how loud we can cheer on our graduates? Graduates, shall we give a cheer to celebrate your family and friends who have joined us today? Are you all familiar with 101 courses at a university? They're often the most basic introductory courses at a university. Art 101 is a course that marks the beginning of an artist's education. Today, this is an Art 101 class for several reasons. One is that while today we are marking the end of this particular moment in these artists' education, it's also the beginning of a new chapter in their art careers. It's also a celebration of the 101st graduating class in art practice at UC Berkeley. That's right, 101 years ago was the first graduating class of artists from UC Berkeley. So I welcome you to Art Practice 101. In many ways, Art 101 isn't just a course, it's a metaphor. It's the space where you first learn to see differently, to question what's in front of you, to make something out of nothing. It's where the blank page becomes possibility, where mistakes become method, and where critique becomes community. And now, standing on the edge of the unknown, you are once again at the beginning, armed not just with skills and techniques, but with a deeper understanding of your role as artists in a complex world. And just as you begin with open minds and restless hands, you now step forward with eyes sharpened by experience and hearts open to uncertainty. And maybe I want to ask for the people controlling the speakers, there's a tremendous amount of feedback. Is that possible to adjust? Does it feel like that to you? Yes. Let's see if we can change that.
There's like a reverb on it.
Speak just on one mic. Do I turn off one? How's that? Is that better? No. How's that? Better, better, better? Are we getting better? Okay. How's that? It was getting, sounded like God thundering down. So what I was going to say about Art 101 is that this Art 101 is bigger than the classroom. It's the start of a lifelong commitment to experimentation, reinvention, and resistance. In a time when truth is often distorted, when justice feels out of reach, and when the systems around us reward conformity over creativity, artists are essential. You have learned how to create in defiance of limits, to imagine alternatives, to hold space for grief, for beauty, for protest, and for joy. These are not small things. They are urgent. And in this moment, this commencement, this Art 101, we recognize not just what you have accomplished, but what you are capable of doing. And as we celebrate this momentous occasion, we must also acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead. In a world marked by uncertainty and change, the role of art and artists have never been more crucial. Thank you. You are not merely graduates of an art department. You are ambassadors of creativity, tasked with using your talents to shape a brighter, more inclusive future for all. So here we are today in Art Practice's 101st year, in this significant milestone in these graduates' lives where they have given 101% and more. And we're all here today to acknowledge the dedication you have demonstrated to bring you to this moment, the work it took to get you here, and also to acknowledge your friends, partners, and family members who are here with us today, or who you may be with you from afar, or who you might be holding in your memory as we share this special celebration of your achievement. Our practice is more than a major. It's a community. It's a community of students, graduate student instructors, and the dedicated and inspirational faculty and staff here in our department who are deeply committed to the education of artists. I want to express my deepest gratitude to the incredible staff who move mountains, often quietly, but always with unwavering dedication, to support our students, faculty, and the spirit of this department. Their care and commitment make everything we do possible. Our department manager, who is Eric Nelson, and he's probably running around, there he is. He keeps our operations steady and strong. Onisha Barham, our student services advisor. She's likely guided every one of you through the maze of university life with patience and compassion. Dylan Thomas, our office and media labs coordinator, ensures that the tools of your creativity are always within reach. Tamar Beja leads our printmaking facilities with deep knowledge and care. Aaron Toole anchors our ceramics area with a rare blend of expertise and generosity. Samuel Wildman maintains a sculpture lab where so many of your boldest ideas take shape. Gazelle Samize. She is our Worth writer, gallery director, and exhibitions manager who's been the guiding force of being behind the exhibitions that have brought your work into the public view. And we are especially grateful to Gazelle as she transitions out of her role this year. Her vision and leadership have left a lasting imprint on this department, and while we will miss her presence deeply, we're excited for what lies ahead in her journey, and we send her the warmest wishes. Please join me in offering a heartfelt thank you to this extraordinary team. I'd also like to take a moment to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the extraordinary faculty who have taught and guided our students over the past year. Faculty, I invite you to please stand when your name is called so we can recognize you. Sandra Ibarra. Asma Kasmi. Jill Miller. Brody Ryman. Luann Redeye. Yeah. Ann Walsh. Fred DeWitt. Emma Logan. Gaia Wise. Shole Asghari. And Felicita Norris. I would also like to acknowledge the entire faculty, Professors Darian Longmire, Moores McReith, Greg Niemeyer, Stephanie Sihuko, our continuing lecturers, Chris Kubik and Indira Moore, lecturers Chris Christian, Amy Elkins, Emily Gee, Sabrina Geschwantner, Beck Imrich, Sahar Kauri, Genevieve Quick, and Manoush Somordinia. A special note, yes. A special note of appreciation goes to Sholay Asghari and Darian Longmire, who will be moving on to exciting new opportunities this year. Congratulations to both of you. We will deeply miss you. We wish you success in the next phase of your career. And to all our faculty, thank you for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, your experience, your enthusiasm, your stamina, and your kindness. You've left a lasting impact on this community, and we are boundlessly richer for your presence. Please join me in giving a warm, grateful round of applause to our faculty. Thank you for the mic adjustment, by the way. Yay for the mic, people on the mic. It goes without saying that the most important part of our community are the students who are also moving on to a new chapter in their lives. You inspire us. We are grateful to you, rising to challenges set before you, and to think critically and creatively, and to challenge us, to challenge the status quo, and your deep commitment to your education. Your presence today is evidence of your persistence and incredible accomplishment against so many odds. Today marks the end of your time in this art program and the beginning of your exciting journey as artists. You worked tirelessly, honing your craft and developing your unique voices, and today we celebrate your achievements and we congratulate you. Yay! So each year, a master's student is selected to address the graduating class, and at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Priyanka D'Souza. Priyanka is a visual artist, writer, and poet based in Mumbai, India. Priyanka came to Berkeley with a rigorous training in a centuries-long tradition of South Asian miniature painting and has adapted this meticulous practice to work with ideas of critical disability studies and ecology. Her work uses rest, queerness, and disability as a methodology in its art practice and curatorial projects to intervene in art and design, history, discourse, and archives. Please join me in welcoming Priyanka to the podium.
Thank you everyone for being here. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here, all of our professors, staff, friends, loved ones, to support the graduating class. It is an honor for me, Priyanka, to speak on behalf of my cohort, the Art Practice graduate class of 2025, Jasmine, Favianna, Bryant, Ariana, and Zacharias. And I'd like to start by confessing a crime. I stole something from the university, and I'm sharing it publicly now because I can no longer be expelled.
As many of you know, and apologies to my cohort who have heard this 100 times already, I've been researching the university archives, particularly the 1964 to 65 Free Speech Movement archive, which is the basis of my thesis work at our MFA exhibition, currently up at the Berkeley Art Museum and Pacific Film Archives. Do check it out. During my research, I found a document, Instructions for Walkout Coordinators, that lists 3 types of protests: A, openly walk out; B, call in sick; and C, refuse to cross the picket lines. And just as I was mulling over the instruction, B, call in sick, which is also the title of my thesis work, I spotted in the archive something gold and glittery. This beautiful glittery thing was a magical graduation stole that had an instruction attached saying, "Whoever dons this stole shall be the artist Priyanka D'Souza for the day. And so, dear friends, I stole this stole so that I could be the artist, Priyanka D'Souza, who delivers this speech today.
University life can be exacting in its demands on our time, efforts, and capacities. We have also been toiling through tumultuous times where the world seems to be falling more and more apart at any given moment. How I'm doing always depends on how much of the news I'm reading. And I've often, in these 2 years, really wished I could multiply myself. A few extra Priyankas would come in really handy. One to write this speech while another installs our thesis show, one to gossip with Anne, and one to attend all of Zacarias's and Jasmine's performances that I've missed. So you'll understand why I stole this stole for a few extra Priyankas today, and hopefully a few more memories and a little more time before I get logged out of all my student Adobe accounts.
Unfortunately, I did not possess this magical stole during my MFA years, and so I've had to call in sick to many things out of sheer exhaustion. And it was in this exhaustion and the absence of extra Priyankas that I was held up by my cohort and the community that art practice is. It was this community, made of all of you, that became the extra hands that did so much of my work and carried my 100 bags. You were the extra brains that I needed an opinion, when I needed an opinion, the extra ear when I needed to rant, the bosom that I needed to hug, and better still, all of you were not extras at all. You were your own people, rich with thoughts, experiences, personalities, and quirkiness. You shared your capacities when you could to support a friend and fellow till they're ready for the world again. Because to be human is to have limits on your capacity, which is not a limitation as much as a privilege, so that you get to experience the love and generosity of those around you. To have the opportunity to do the same and to grow and learn in this sharing. From Ariana, I learned the drive and passion, but above all, I learned that, but am I yet to implement how to prioritize your health and wellness, and to take time off to meditate, even when there is a shit ton of work to do that needs attending to. From Bryant, I learned to speak from a soft underbelly of the earth, from darkness that is so alive, rich, and nurturing that casual metaphors equating the dark with negativity only expose the anti-Black failings in our worlds.
And I am a word person, as y'all know. My family sitting here see my exhibitions with so much text, they wonder where the art is. And so, what Favianna, Jasmine, and Bryant really held for me, in practice and in person, was the recognition that the word human and humility comes from humus, the Latin word for soil or earth that we learned in biology. Because to be human is to be humble, it is to ask for help from those around you, and it is to be not above the ground, but of it.
And being of the soil is to recognize the gravity of living in a shared bread. So how do you keep breathing when the weight of the world is crushing your lungs? You breathe like the artists plays their saxophone, the way they laugh, loudly, assertively. Ha, ha, ha. So I urge you today to still back your breath, to steal back your laughter and your joy, your capacities and peace of mind from institutions and forces that lay claim to them. Find the ridiculous in the oppressive because humor is militant. Steal like an artist because this is not about theft. This is about returning, or sankofa as Jasmine calls it, to the earth, to the body, to the tender, tangled togethernesses, and celebrating the brilliance of our stubborn insistence on being here, despite it all anyway. Congratulations, class of 2025. To end with a quote by the iconic Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, we did it!
Thank you, Priyanka, and thank you for sharing your voice with the rest of the cohort. So generous. Thank you. That was great. The departmental citation is the highest honor the department bestows upon an undergraduate student. This citation is given to the art major who, in the faculty's judgment, exemplifies hard work, growth, and has demonstrated by their creative talents to have contributed and to have benefited substantially from the undergraduate program. By tradition, the department asked the recipient to deliver the undergraduate address. This year, the department's citation is awarded to Sophia Lavrov.
Hello, everyone. I'm beyond honored to speak in front of you today and hopefully share somewhat of what I have learned through this amazing art practice department. I spent a long time trying to find a way to impart wisdom. After all, my Russian grandmother always reminded me that my name, Sophia, stands for wisdom, high stakes. So I want to tell you the story of how I fell in love with art making again. As a transfer student, I knew I had to make the most of my 2 years here. So I painted a lot. Every night I painted late into the evening, priming, sanding, gridding, sketching, cutting, glazing. I just threw out a lot of painting terms. But the point is, the studios became my second home, and painting became my world. I met wonderful artists during those late nights. We would check in on each other in our painting delirium, telling each other to go home and sleep. I would run into professors, and I would get so excited for them to look at my work. Indira telling me I needed more paint, Fred telling me I needed to use more figures to fill my composition, and Brody telling me to use the space more. I loved it. These interactions always made my night. By my second year, I grew really excited by propelling my interests forward, largely self-portraiture and religiosity, into even more conceptual directions. I painted bigger than I ever had, with more layers, more figures. On top of that, my efforts were spent selling at pop-ups, installing shows, working in galleries, having my first joint show, and painting 2 murals for the Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital. Not to mention eating and sleeping enough. I became this machine of production. The procedure became eat, paint, sleep, repeat. I kept pushing, growing, climbing, but I also stopped visiting my family. I said no to hangouts, stopped going to the gym. I stopped enjoying the process of my labor. Pressure superseded the present moment, and it fried me, making me feel like I couldn't go further. Some days I hated painting. I couldn't feel the joy in creating. Then came my final semester. This spring of 2025, I was accepted into the Advanced and Studio and Critique program, granted a studio and an exhibition shared with 8 of my classmates. And in that space, with those ambitious, talented, and kind artists, I learned how to ask for help when I needed it. I learned to release myself of pressure, to be silly. These 8 artists made it easy. We allowed each other to be completely and unapologetically ourselves, which meant also that we could collaborate. We made a massive stuffed horse, named Patches, with ceramic button eyes, hand-dyed fabrics, yarn for the mane, and even a hand-embroidered tramp stamp. Patches was the product of our combined labor. I saw myself and this group learning and enjoying, not knowing or not expecting the outcome. And through companionship and conversation and a horse, I started to love process again. Now, for all my fellow graduates, this story may sound familiar in your time here, where your art practice toggles between love, hate, and ambivalence. But there needs to be a pace, a balance, a grace. It's easy to get carried away by what you have to do. Yet I urge that you be guided by gratitude for all the people who got you here and continue supporting you. I thank the families and friends and loved ones who are out here today. I thank the professors for their time, experience, and commitment to us. And I thank my peers for their brilliance and friendship. Second, I urge you to be present, to be and exist in a single moment, focusing on the task at hand, thinking through the material you are using, feeling it, and recognizing it transform into your idea. Third, and most important, I implore you to connect. My most joyful moments here were spent in non-formal critiques and conversations with classmates and professors, figuring things out together, essentially making the work together. Though this isn't a prescription for success or an assurance of the future, gratitude, presence, and connection allowed me to find love again in art making, because in the end, it wasn't perfection, productivity, or praise that brought me back to art. It was people, it was process, and the quiet, enduring joy of making something together. Thank you all.
Thank you, and congratulations again, Sophia. It's now my distinct honor to welcome our 2025 commencement speaker, Favianna Rodriguez. Yay. A visionary artist, cultural strategist, and changemaker who exemplifies the transformative power of art. Based here in Oakland, California, Favianna is a first-generation American Latinx artist with Afro-Latinx roots, whose creative journey began amidst the rhythms of hip-hop and the harsh realities of the war on drugs. Today, her vibrant and interdisciplinary practice spans visual art, public art, entrepreneurship, and global cultural advocacy, always centered on joy, healing, and liberation. Favianna's work boldly addresses the most pressing issues of our time: migration, gender justice, climate change, racial equality, and sexual freedom, while simultaneously offering us a vision of the world rooted in pleasure, creative expression, and cultural abundance. Her signature visual language and cultural voice have reached audiences through powerful partnerships with institutions such as Ben & Jerry's, Spotify, and the city of San Francisco, as well as with institutions and through major public artworks and appearances at the United Nations Climate Summit, the Smithsonian, Google, and Sundance. As president and co-founder of the Center for Cultural Power, Favianna has helped build a nationwide ecosystem that supports BIPOC artists at the intersection of art and social justice. Her leadership and generosity have catalyzed a new generation of artists to see cultural work as essential to structural change. So whether it's printmaking, public speaking, or policy-shifting philanthropy, Favianna invites us to imagine and create a radically more just and beautiful world. She was once an undergraduate student in our program and has become a true example of how artists can lead movements that define our future. Please join me in giving a warm and joyful welcome to our 2025 commencement speaker, Favianna Rodriguez.
Thank you, everyone, and congratulations to all of you. I wish I could look at y'all while I was speaking, but I'm thinking about all of you. Thank you so much. Oh, can you guys hear? Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I was a student here at UC Berkeley from 1996 to 1999, and I'm very proud to say that I was involved in the Third World Liberation Front, which fought for ethnic studies and won. And sadly, I was put on academic probation after that and had to abandon my studies here. But there are many pathways to become an artist and to become a change maker. And sometimes we have to build those pathways. So cultural change precedes political change. And I didn't understand that when I was a student here, but I understand it now. I grew up in Oakland during the 80s in a community that was impacted by systemic violence, police brutality, drugs, and pollution. And in high school, I didn't have access to learning about the powerful contributions of Black people, Arab Americans, Asian Americans, Latinx folks, queer people, disabled people, immigrants, right? Because ethnic studies wasn't even a thing in high school. And I also was experiencing invisibility. As a Latina, Dora the Explorer did not yet exist, Selena hadn't made it, and we hardly knew about Frida Kahlo. And it was this invisibility that led me to art, because art was a safe space where I can create my own reality. Art was a place where I could exist. And when I got to UC Berkeley and took classes in ethnic studies and learned about the Black Panthers and the Brown Berets, I began to understand what it takes to transform a community. Because as I had been growing up, I realized that the policies that were being passed were passed because of the stories that were being told. And so every policy that we're experiencing is shaped in a story about who belongs and who doesn't, who we can exploit and who we don't, who we lock up, who we call criminals. Everything is shaped by culture. Culture is power, and art is power. Culture is like the ocean, and it surrounds us all the time. It shapes how we relate to each other, how we relate to the natural world. In fact, our society is built on culture ideas. It's built on stories. And if you think about that, human beings, since the beginning of time, have been sitting around fires, telling stories, drawing in caves, singing songs, then you can understand the power of culture. And think about the books you have read, the songs you listened to growing up, the films you saw, the visual culture, and whose story it represented. And did it reflect you? Did you feel like you belong? Today, the reality is that we live at a time when the cultural sector is dominated by the perspectives of a narrow group of people, a very powerful class that has consolidated its power and its wealth through subjugation and through exploitation. You see, those who have their hands on the levers of culture shape values, behaviors, and ideas. And values eventually shape policies. And so we can't just think of art as a nice thing. No, art is a necessity. Art is where there's power. And it's powerful because it speaks to your emotions. And as human beings, neurosciences teach us that we are wired for emotions. When we feel emotions, whether it's anger or joy, we are more likely to take action. When we think about change and how societies and culture shift, change happens in 3 realms. It happens in the political, and you're all seeing that right now. Definitely happens in the economic sector. You know, we live in a country where corporations have so much power that they impact the water you drink, the air you breathe, and how much you get paid. The third sector is culture. And culture impacts both the political sector and the economic sector. And culture moves faster than politics. And I want you to think about, this is what we're seeing today. Ideas that were once fringe or extremist are now becoming mainstream. Why? Because of culture. It doesn't matter if they're rational or not. What matters is that it's a compelling story that moves people. And I want to share some examples with you because it's actually those who have been on the side of justice that have best used culture. So when I was growing up and I was a young artist in my 20s, the reality is that the art world was very dominated by men. It probably still is. I mean, what I've experienced, it still is. And sexual harassment was rampant. And I would talk about it, I would complain about it, but there would really be no action. That was in the early 2000s. In 2018, a movement called Me Too was born, where people spoke about their stories, especially women. And it's not that sexual harassment didn't exist before 2018, it's that we believed survivors. Something shifted. That's a cultural shift. And that's the power of culture, is that when we share our stories and our truth, we have the ability to shift systems. Another example, gay marriage. Gay marriage became legal in 2015. It's only been 10 years. How it became legal? Americans before 1997 largely opposed gay marriage. But then what happened? Queer folks began to be present in the cultural sector, right? You had gay artists in the 80s. You had Ellen come out on TV in 1997. You had athletes come out on the cover of Sports magazine. We began to see the stories of LGBTQ folks in the culture around us. And so, of course, we began to normalize LGBTQ folks, and the shift happened. And by 2015, the majority of Americans believed that gay marriage should be legalized, and it was. Because politics is the final manifestation of an idea whose time has come. But in the world of culture, in the world of art, we shape those ideas. We help give it life and give it possibility. And we've also seen this with the visibility of transgender people, right? Laverne Cox, Alok, Tourmaline, Janet Mock, all people in the cultural sector, writers, authors, performers, visual artists, who show us that actually the gender binary has been very harmful. And today, we have record-breaking number of young people who are embracing their own gender, what feels good to them, right? And so there's been a culture shift. And sadly, the federal government is launching all-out attacks on transgender people, from gender-affirming care to prohibiting trans people to be visible in all aspects of our society. That is a reaction to culture shifts. That is the attempt to roll back culture, because when we change culture, we threaten power establishments. When we call out sexual abuse, harassment, inequality, when we tell our stories, we build our power, right? We say, no, these systems have to stop and things have to change. And so, of course, there's going to be a repression. But I can tell you that even when politics takes a step backwards, culture doesn't. Culture will always move forward. And even the attempts we're seeing right now to squash culture, I mean, if y'all can just imagine that the National Endowment for the Arts is getting defunded, right? It is getting defunded. They are moving money away from all the communities who have been impacted. Why is there an attack on critical race theory? Because when we learn the stories, when we hear the stories of what people have gone through to build this country, the genocide, the theft of land, the enslavement, the exploitation, the subjugation, of course people get politicized. That's the power of stories. And so the attacks we are seeing right now is an attack on culture. And this is precisely why the work of artists is even more important than ever, because art and culture show us what's possible. All of you are graduating at a time of culture war. This is a culture war we've been in since the 1980s. Your work is to help us imagine different worlds, to show us what's possible, and to be bold and apologetic. I want to leave you with 3 things as you step into this world. Number 1, recognize that the cultural sector is not neutral. The culture sector is rooted in racism, sexism, ableism, colonialism. If you want to make an impact, think about building your own institutions. Find your people, organize. Own your stuff, own your intellectual property. Number 2, make art about the world you want to see. I know that there's a lot to fight, but we can't just fight. We have to build a new world. Show me a world where sexual abuse doesn't exist anymore. Show me a world where all genders can exist. Thank you. Show me a world free of war and militarism. Help me feel that. Show me the yes, not just the no. Number 3, know that you as artists belong everywhere. You don't just belong in studios and galleries. You belong in government. You belong in climate negotiations. You belong in education. Every single place where human beings are creating models, you belong there. We need your imagination. We need your creativity, because culture is how we are going to change hearts and minds. There's nothing, I can show you all the data, and scientists can talk to you about how the planet is on fire, but when you see a really good piece of art that moves your heart, we are going to stop climate change. So we need the artists at all levels. Art is what reminds us of our humanity. It is how we step into the shoes of someone else. It is how we empathize. It is how we move our hearts. And all of you have the power to change how people think and how people feel. You have the power to transform ideas. Will you use your gifts to fuel systems of profit and exploitation, or will you use them to transform the world? I believe that each and every one of you can help build a global movement for cultural change. Thank you so much.
That was rousing. Thank you, Favianna, so much. Good afternoon. My name is Ann Walsh, professor of art practice. Actually, it's not going to work without glasses. Okay. I have the pleasure of announcing awards next. Yay. But I'd like to begin by recognizing a person crucial to our department for the last 3 years, Professor Ronald Rael. When Ron agreed to chair our department in 2022, he was already an affiliate faculty member of our department from his home College of Environmental Design. He had co-taught a course with our faculty, collaborated with our ceramics studio, advised on a search committee, and even joined our parties. So we felt especially fortunate when Ron agreed to serve as department chair for the last 3 years. I want to express, on behalf of my colleagues, our staff, and students, how immensely grateful we are for his insight, steady service, and patience. Ron now leaves for a well-deserved sabbatical this summer and to continue his very exciting studio practice. Thank you, Ron, for your leadership in art practice. to our agenda. Scholarships, fellowships, prizes, and awards play a fundamental role in advancing our program's goals. They provide crucial support for tuition, fees, and material expenses. They sponsor residencies, travel, and research, and they provide encouragement to students in the pursuit of further studies or work opportunities. Finally, they recognize or honor talent, dedication, creativity, and leadership. The donors of these awards, many of whom are alumni of this department, deserve our most sincere gratitude. We are grateful for their generous support, which advances current and future generations of students in pursuing a quality public education in art practice. Thank you, donors. Yay. Okay. On to our recipients. Our Master of Fine Arts students serve while they are here in our program for 2 years as graduate student instructors, or GSIs, and assist and sometimes lead their own sections of undergraduate art classes. Each year we award the GSI whose teaching has been deemed most dedicated and inspiring. The Outstanding Graduate Student Instructor Award is given to MFA Class of 2025, Jasmine Niende. Congratulations, Jasmine. Next, I'm pleased to share that the recipient of the prestigious 2025-26 Headlands Center for the Arts Graduate Fellowship is Bryant Terry. So that means Bryant will be artist in residence at the Headlands Center in Sausalito for the next year. Visit him there at one of the center's open houses to see what he's up to. The department citation is the highest honor the department bestows upon an undergraduate. By tradition, we ask the recipient to deliver the undergraduate speech, so you've already heard from her. This year, the department citation is awarded to Sophia Lavrov. Art Practice is grateful to receive funding from the Mel and Leta Ramos Family Foundation. Recipients of the 2025 Ramos Foundation Award are honored with a cash prize and an exhibition in the department's Worthwriter Art Gallery, which will be held next year. This year's recipients are Melody Adley and Bonu Kul. In 2003, the department established an annual award in memory of Professor Wendy Sussman. Wendy was admired and respected for her painting and for her inspired teaching. The recipients of the 2025 Wendy Sussman Award are Noah Fukuda, Martine Rodriguez Serrano, and Shou Wu. The Graphic Arts Loan Collection, called GLAC, is a collection of framed original prints by renowned artists housed in the university's Morrison Library. And this is really true. Any student, faculty, or staff of the UC Berkeley community may borrow up to 2 prints for a full academic year. Wow! For the Art Practice and University Library Printmaking Award, Art Practice Department partners with UCB's Morrison Library to recognize the work of an outstanding printmaking student. Prints made by the honored student will enter the Graphic Arts Loan Collection and will be available for loan along with the rest of the collection. This year, Maxine Eschker was selected for this award. The Lauren Krikorian Memorial Fund annually awards the undergraduate student who, like Lauren herself, exemplifies the spirit of creativity and community in art practice. We thank Lauren's family for this award. This year, the Lauren Krikorian Memorial Award is presented to Elizabeth Estrada. Certificates of excellence are awarded by the faculty to graduating seniors who have excelled in individual artistic disciplines. This year's awardees are listed in your programs. Students, if you've been awarded a certificate of excellence, please stand and please give them a round of applause. Lastly, I'd like to recognize the students who were awarded the honor of participating in the Advanced Studio Critique program. The ASCP is a cohort of advanced undergraduates who practice together for a semester in shared studios to develop critical and creative skills, mentored by a graduate student and visiting faculty. Will the fall and spring Advanced Studio Critique Program recipients please stand, and we'll give you a round of applause. Ron comes back to the podium now.
Congratulations, everyone, and congratulations, all of you. It's now time to present the scrolls to the graduating class of 2025. And we will begin with the candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts. Stepping in for Professor Stephanie Sihuko, who is unable to be here today, is Professor Jill Miller. She will announce each graduate's name from the microphone to my left. And graduates, after your name is called, walk to the podium to receive your scroll. Will the MFA candidates please proceed to Professor Miller to receive your scroll?
Priyanka D'Souza. Zacharias Musele Thompson. I'm so excited for you. Bryant Thomas Terry.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much.
Jasmine Nyende. Ariana Kamilnyuk.
Candidates. Beginning with the first row. You got it right. Please proceed to Professor Miller to receive your scroll.
Sophia Lavrov. Lydia Watson. Lark Changye. Kelsey Kristen. Paloma Bondi. Maxine Eschker. Autumn Van Buren. Melody Adley. Martine Rodriguez Serrano. Ivan Vieja Midel. Jessica Jean Millardier Velasco. Aubrey Fife. Neil Mainker. Ash Margolis. Grace Mindel. Yoon Chen. Chase Skylar Beanjan. Tatum Ekstrom. Willow Otaka. Cass Geiger. Ara Cho. Leticia Acosta. Shane Duran. Nianchin Liu. Yoonjung Park. Helena Vung. Lauren Talbert. Yuhan Shen. Xiaoying Huang. Juliet Fifi Ray Berman. Ponu Ku. Hannah Yang. Evelyn Martinez Garcia. Angelique Cox. Valerie Doom Doom. Lily Yugubian. Haley Morale. Gia Warjawan. Malavika Sudarsan. Charmian Butterfield. Sierra Jang. Jingyi Zhu. Jiyun Yang. Wendy Luo. Sydney Tang. Natalie Gavaretta Pacheco. Stella Ray Morris. Clara Donovan. Betsy Siegel. Caroline Rojas. Olivia Marie Cherry. Mia Ishel Sanchez. Gemma Guadalupe Padilla. Dana Perdomo. Alisa Shemal. Elizabeth Estrada. Noah Soriano. Jason Lee. Noah Fukuda. Yiling Liu. Giancarlo Lecca.
Okay, there's more to this. At this time, will the Master of Fine Arts degree candidates please stand? Candidates, you have now completed 2 intensive years of graduate study in art practice that prepare you for careers as professional artists, as well as qualifying you to teach the discipline of art in schools and universities. By the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I now bestow upon you the degree of Master of Fine Arts and all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Will the Bachelor of Arts degree candidates please stand? Candidates, you have now completed up to 4 years of undergraduate study in the Division of Arts and Humanities within the College of Letters and Science with a major in art practice. By the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I now bestow upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts and all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations. You can have a seat if you want. Before my closing remarks, I would like to remind you that the 55th annual UC Berkeley Master of Fine Arts exhibition of the 2025 graduating students, entitled "The Currents Beneath," is currently on view until July 27th at the Berkeley Art Museum and Pacific Film Archive on Center Street in downtown Berkeley, just 7-minute walk from here. And I would like to invite everyone here to join us immediately after the events listed in your commencement program, which are the senior class exhibition at the Worth Rider Gallery in the Art Practice Building and the reception at the south entrance of the Art Practice Building. There are signs to mark the way. As we close, I'd like to share that it is an honor to stand before you today. It's been such a great honor to be the chair of this department for 3 years and to be in the company of those who will shape the culture, conversations, and conscience of the future. You are artists, yes, but more than that, you are imaginative thinkers with the courage to translate emotion, critique, and vision into something tangible. I want to leave you with something from a book I'm currently reading by Rutger Bregman about moral ambition. It's from the book of the same title. In the first chapter of the book, he asked us to rethink the very idea of success. Not as fame or financial comfort or prestige, but as impact, as usefulness, as the ability to make the world not just more beautiful, but more just. So many people, he says, are trapped in what he calls bullshit jobs, unsatisfying jobs, roles that may pay well, may sound impressive, but leave people sometimes feeling empty. They don't create, they don't connect, they don't help. And the tragedy is that some of the most brilliant, most creative people get swept up in those kinds of careers, not because they're shallow, but because the world convinces them it's the only smart option. Thanks. But you, as artists, have a unique advantage. You already know how to work with discomfort, uncertainty, and failure. You know how to imagine what doesn't yet exist. That means you are better equipped than most to ask the harder questions, not how do I become successful, but how can I be useful? What would it mean to devote your creativity, just as Favianna said, not to just galleries or markets, but to the climate crisis, to housing justice, to the deep loneliness people feel in this digital age? What would it look like to make art that doesn't just represent the world, but remakes it? Moral ambition doesn't mean being a martyr. It means aligning your talent with the needs of others. It means recognizing that your artistic practice can be more than self-expression. It can be service. It can be solidarity. And it can be a strategy. There are no maps for this kind of ambition, no neat resumes or roadmaps, but that's okay because you didn't become artists to follow rules. You became artists to question rules. You became artists to see what others cannot yet see. So as you leave this institution, this place that has challenged and shaped you, I hope you don't just ask what kind of artist you want to be. I hope you ask, what kind of world do I want to help build? And then bravely and beautifully use your work to build it. The world is waiting for your vision. Congratulations to the class of 2025. This concludes our program. We warmly invite you to join us for the reception and gallery viewing that follow, as noted in your program. And graduates, will you now proceed back up the stairs and connect with your families outside the hall? Thank you so much, and congratulations.